Welcome to Quick Tip Tuesday. Today we're going to go over how to pack your pallet. So these tricks and tips should hopefully help you save some time and money when it comes to packing your pallet. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a base on my pallet. So I'm going to start with the bigger boxes. So as I'm packing these bigger boxes, what I want to do is make sure I keep a gap here right in the middle to put my table. So my table is not going on the bottom of the pallet, it's going to go right in the middle. So I'm able to slide my table through. So it's very important not to put your table on the bottom of the pallet because tables are slippery and they can slide all your boxes right off the pallet. So I left a little gap and now I'm going to add a few of my other boxes. Now when it comes to vertical boxes, you want to add those to the middle of the pallet because it's easier to wrap. It kind of keeps it more of a cohesive group. Now that I got most of my vertical boxes added, the next thing I'm going to do is slide my table through this gap. Now that I have my table on the pallet, I'm just going to tighten up the boxes to it to make sure it stays secure after I wrap it. Now that I have my boxes tight against the table, the next thing I'm going to do is hide my toolkit. So toolkits tend to be one of the most stolen items from pallets. So it's important to hide it. So I'm going to place it on this box in the back, and then to hide it, I'm going to use my table throw boxes or any small boxes and pack around it. And then I've saved this long box so that you won't be able to see it from the back. And it's just that easy to pack your pallet. Now the next thing you want to do is wrap your pallet. And it's very important when wrapping your pallet that you want to make sure it's secure. It's one group so that it stays on the pallet. So I got my wrap here. And what I'm going to do is pull out a fairly long piece. And then I'm going to crunch it together to create a tail. Now that I've created a tail, I'm going to tie it to the left front corner and I'm going to double knot it. If your tail is kind of long, you can always cut it after you've created the double knot. Now that I have my wrap double knotted, the next thing I'm going to do is wrap the base of my pallet. So you want to wrap it around 4 or 5 times of the base before you work up. And as you're wrapping, you want to make sure you keep tension on the wrap. It's okay to stretch it a little bit because you want to make sure that all your products are wrapped very securely. So as I'm wrapping, I'm putting a little bit of muscle into it to make sure that it stays secure, and I'm stretching it a little bit. Now that I've wrapped my base 4 times, I'm going to start working my way up the pallet. So it's kind of like wrapping Christmas lights around a Christmas tree. You start at the base and you work your way up. Now when it comes to the vertical boxes, you kind of want to make an X to make sure that they stay included in this cluster of product. So you can go across the top, come back down. What's good to note is you can never put too much wrap on your pallet. And I'm going to work this, I'm going to go the opposite X. And I'm going to end in the opposite corner of where I tied my knot. So I'm going to end in the back here, and I'm going to pull out a long piece and tear it off. And then I'm going to create a tail just like I did for the front. And I'm going to tie another knot onto my pallet. Now that I have my knot tied, I'm going to do the shake test to see if it all shakes as one piece, which it does. The next thing I'm going to do is hide my wrap within the pallet. You want to make sure you hide it good just like the toolbox because this is another item that gets stolen out of pallets. So I'm just going to hide it in my pallet, and it's just that easy to pack your pallet. I'll see you next time for another Quick Tip Tuesday.